5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this Cain Velasquez case and the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion, you say, why does that matter? Well, I'm going to tell you why that matters. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and as you know, the weeks are passing now, I've had a little bit more time to process all the details of the case. Just a disclaimer, I am no attorney, or nor am I pretending to be an attorney or some sort of law expert. I am not. Again, these are only my opinions. You know, from myself, having a background of child development, I care about children. I would never do anything to hurt a child. So with that, I have strong opinions about this case. You know, I'm not doing this to, oh, let me spread the word. This is trending right now. A lot of people are talking about this, so a lot of people are going to click on my videos and stuff like that. That is not why I'm doing this. I am doing this because I honestly have a vested interest and strong feeling about this case because of my background in working with children. And also, I have a 15-year-old son, and I would do anything to protect my son. Now, like I said, my son's 15 years old, he's 6'1", and we've done about 100 rounds of sparring together. So if someone tried to molest my son, he'd just punch him in the face. and and he's good at that. So I'm not so worried about him now at this point at his age. But in the past, when he was younger, a toddler, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, man, I would have straight went ballistic on someone if I would have found out that someone molested my son. Why does the court of public opinion matter? And what is the court of public opinion? So you have the actual court where the judge and the jury reside, and they make their decisions in there based on the laws of the land. Well, there's also the public court of opinion, and I'm going to give you a good example of this. The George Floyd case. This case had such a major impact on the court of public opinion. In other words, folks across the nation were so emotionally vested in the outcome of this case and what happened with this case. The horrific tragedy of the death of George Floyd, and also the outcome of whether this, police officer, Derek Chauvin, was actually convicted. Well, guarantee you, if there were no eyes on that case, it's a case that pretty much had flown under the radar. There was no video on it. No one had really heard about it. Whatever. Derek Chauvin would have walked easily. 9 times out of 10, he would have walked without any convictions. So, people would have looked at it and say, hey, George Floyd was being combative. Had a previous drug use. There was fentanyl found in his system, and it was amounts of fentanyl that would have killed anyone anyway. So there's really no way to prove that the actions of the cop are actually what caused the death of George Floyd. There would have been all of these things that would have prevented that conviction from happening. But because there was such a strong public opinion on that particular case, and there needed to be, because excessive force, especially as it relates to young black men in this country, is something that we really needed to draw attention on for a long time, right? So the George Floyd case was just another example of that, and it was a perfect example of why we needed to readdress how our law enforcement, approached that specific set of society. I digress now. The point I'm getting at is that it was the court of public opinion, and the fact that George Floyd's name was on the lips of every media outlet, anyone who had any sort of platform whatsoever in this world was talking about the case of George Floyd. And everyone's opinion, for the most part, was that, I say police officer, but the police officers, plural, used excessive force, and it wasn't necessary, and definitely could have or did contribute to the death of George Floyd, as tragic as it was. So, because of the strong public opinion on that case, there was no way that that court was not going to convict Derek Chauvin of something. Of something. The court of public opinion had spoken, and the opinion was so strong. Now I circle back to this case with Cain Velasquez. All right? So that's exactly what's happening in this instance. So the court of public opinion is very strong on this because for several reasons. One reason being that Cain Velasquez has never been in any sort of trouble with the law, ever in his life. The individual who he was going after was accused of molesting Cain Velasquez, we think it was his young son, multiple times, up to 100 times. Now, again, you know, a 4-year-old doesn't know what 100 is, but however many times it happened, it seemed like a lot to him. One time is too much, right? Is the point I'm making. So, you know, as I'm looking at this now and you see all these people on TV, free Cain, free Cain, free Cain, you know, I realize that anyone who has a platform and wants to speak out about this needs to be careful about what you say and what kind of words you put out there. And I'm no exception. Now, I don't have a huge platform. You know, I'm still working on 100 subscribers here. I only started this channel about a month ago. But I do have some ears. And I have new people, you know, clicking on my videos and watching them every day. Despite him being a famous UFC fighter, we don't want to support this vigilante justice. Because if we do that, we devolve our legal system back to, if you get angry with someone because you feel like they've wronged you or someone you know, then you have the right to go after them with any means necessary, whether that be lethal force or otherwise. Cain Velasquez was put in a situation where he was forced to react. Okay? His son made the complaint. His family, at least initially, did the correct thing. They went to the police. The police brought him in. The court system is where they dropped the ball. They said he was not an immediate threat to the public, which I disagree with. You know, if someone has been accused of molesting a child, that is absolutely 100% a threat to the public. Okay? I just want to be completely clear about that. So you can imagine Cain Velasquez's surprise when he hears from, you know, a friend or a neighbor. Cain Velasquez is a famous guy, so one of his fans or somebody dropped him a message, say, hey, dude, hey, I saw your boy, Harry Galarte, the guy who was accused of and charged with molesting your 4-year-old son. You know, I saw him driving around on the street today. What's going on? You know, and Cain Velasquez went into an emotional state that I would consider like, you know, a crime of passion, like temporary insanity. Now, there's one thing I do want to correct that I spoke about on one of my previous videos. So I talked about how Cain, that is, put hundreds of people throughout San Jose at risk with the way he drove after this vehicle and with on a high-speed chase, that sort of thing. No, listen, I'm not backing out on that. He did. He absolutely did. But one of the things I would like to correct is, you know, I talked about how when he pulled up at this intersection, he rammed into the vehicle and then began firing into the car, and that anyone could have been hit. You know, this is a public intersection, blah, 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 this and that. Well, I didn't do my research because I now know it's out in the freaking country. 100% in the country, and there is no one around. I mean, there's no buildings, no businesses, no, I don't even believe there's a stoplight there. And, you know, all you can see is just green grass, hills. When I saw this was kind of shocking to me, and I thought to myself, even in his state of mind, there is a good chance that Cain Velasquez purposely waited until he got to this rural intersection so that he wasn't putting other people at risk. And also, once he began to fire his weapon, he fired the weapon a few times into the driver's seat, and I think at some point he probably realized, oh shit, there's more than one person in this vehicle, or Harry Goularte, the guy I'm actually going after, is not the one driving. I think that the whole time he was thinking that Harry Goularte was the driver of the vehicle. I think he realized this was not Harry Goularte, and he stopped firing. Once the police descended on Cain, they found, a weapon in his presence, of course, and a couple of clips in his presence, but the guy still had like 7 or 8 bullets in the clip that was currently in the gun. And so, he only fired a few shots. Why didn't he fire the rest of the shots? Well, that showed at least some restraint on his part. Keeping in mind the fact that this court system and this judge initially, in my opinion, made a huge mistake by letting Harry Goularte walk free and walk straight out of jail and not notifying either Cain Velasquez or the family of Cain Velasquez. They are partly responsible for this. That should have never happened. He tried to do the right thing, went to the police, it ended up in the court system, and the court system failed. And they let the guy go. And then what happened was Cain reacted. He let his emotions take over. Listen, should he have done it? Did he put people in danger? We can sit here and debate that all day. But the truth of the matter is, unless you've been in that situation, none of us can really say what we would do. All I know is if I found out something like that happened to my child, I would be so out of my head with just anger that I really, honestly cannot say what I would do. Now, I don't own a weapon. I just don't. It's just not something I'm into. I don't see anything wrong with owning a weapon. I know a lot of folks who do own weapons. I just don't own a weapon. So in my case, I probably wouldn't be going after anyone with a weapon, but I guarantee you I would have a really difficult time not personally confronting this person and beating the ever-loving shit out of them. I would have a really tough time not doing that. And I can't say that if I was thrust into that situation and those emotions of knowing your child was used in such a horrific, disgusting way, I can't say without actually feeling those emotions right now that I wouldn't do something worse. And I think that's why the court of public opinion is so strong on this, because it deals with molestation and it deals with a father who is retaliating and seeking justice on behalf of his child when the legal system and the court system failed to do so, at least immediately, right? And I want to say, too, that what we say on here matters. If you really want to help Cain Velasquez, listen, don't send death threats to the judge. That is the last thing that we need to do. And if we do stuff like that, then they're going to turn around and make an example of Cain. He's going to get some time anyway, just because of the high-profile nature of this case and the high-profile nature of him as a professional athlete. So they're not going to let him just completely walk free. We can forget about that. That's not going to happen, okay? Because they are going to use this as an opportunity to show everybody else, this vigilante justice cannot happen in this country. I'm not, advocating for vigilante justice. In the court of public opinion, what we say and what we think and what we put out there into the media stream and into the universe matters as it relates to Cain Velasquez. So the best thing we can do is keep supporting him by saying that we feel it is something that any parent or any father could have potentially done, giving the circumstances, giving the accusations and the charges brought against Harry Goularte, and the fact that he was let out and was not kept behind bars, at least for a period of time, or at least until he was able to be heard in court, and then a jury decide that he's innocent. Inevitably, someone's going to say to me, wait, man, that's not right. It's innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. What do you mean they can't let him out of jail until he's proven himself innocent? Hey, we're talking about children here. And I can tell you now from experience of being a teacher in a classroom with young children of this same age for over 11 years that you don't get accused of something like that by a 4-year-old unless there's some truth to it. Because 4-year-olds are too emotionally immature and they have no sexual experience. They're 4. At least they shouldn't have any sexual experience. They're 4 years old. So they're not just going to come off the top of their dome with, oh, well, they touched me here, they did this, they did that. A child that age cannot even think of that sort of thing. And as long as I was in that environment, and I did have to, help a child unbutton their pants so they wouldn't pee themselves, or just, I had to do stuff like that several times when I was working in that field. Never, ever, ever have I even come close to being accused of something like that. So that lets you know right there that accusation would have never taken place had there not been something there. Now, a grown woman who has sexual experience and has had multiple sexual partners, yeah, she can accuse a guy of rape and there be no truth in it. He's innocent until proven guilty because, maybe she's lying. Maybe she just had sex with him and then felt bad about it, or she's trying to get some money because he's rich and famous. Whatever it is, a 4-year-old child does not come off the top of the dome and make up a story like this. So when it comes to children, it is not innocent until proven guilty. It's you're going to have to sit tight right here until we get you in court and get all of this hashed out. Because I am, as a judge, am not going to take the chance of letting you get back out there into society and hurt another child in that way. Now, if they're proven innocent in a court of law, you know, we can still have our opinions, but our opinions really don't matter at that point because they were proven innocent. So obviously, our court system is not set up to where we keep innocent people in jail. At least we're not supposed to. Even people who actually were innocent got wrongly convicted and then wrongfully locked up. Once it was proven that they were innocent, they do what? They let them out of jail because, well, they're innocent. They didn't do anything. It's just my opinion. All right, love you guys. Appreciate you watching. If you enjoy the content, please like and then subscribe. I'll see you next time.